So someone asked me to comment on dementia in light of it coming up again in the news. So 5 years ago, I did a podcast on dementia as it was being discussed a lot in relation to the upcoming election between Biden and Trump. And I tend to follow the Goldwater rule, meaning I don't diagnose or give my clinical impression on public figures because I haven't evaluated them. However, as with everything, I'm very much about education and trust that people will come to their own conclusions. So what I will talk about very briefly here is Alzheimer's, but also frontotemporal lobe dementia, which is not an obvious form of dementia, but it is dementia nonetheless, as well as Lewy body disease and vascular dementia. But I really want to make the distinction between Alzheimer's and frontal lobe dementia. So Alzheimer's is what people think of when they think of dementia. Someone will have memory loss, problems learning new information and retaining that information. Not necessarily long-term memories from their past, but more recent memories, short-term memory. And over time, they can start to have behavioral changes and problems with speech and language. Lewy body dementia, Alzheimer's plus Parkinsonian type symptoms. So Parkinson's involves rigidity and stiff movements. Frontotemporal lobe dementia, on the other hand, does not involve memory loss in the beginning, and so it's less obvious to people that someone is evolving into dementia. Instead, what we'll see is increasingly inappropriate social behavior, a decrease in inhibition, and a decrease in empathy, and really a loss of judgment over time. There can also be speech and language problems. Now, there is some evidence that the precursor to this, for some people, is narcissistic personality disorder. And where one ends and the other begins can be very difficult. Also, people that have narcissistic personality disorder usually aren't seeking out treatment. And so when their symptoms and behaviors start to get really ramped up, they're still unlikely to be seeking treatment. And for family and friends, some of their behaviors might seem kind of normative because they've sort of always been that way, but they're clearly progressing in their, what we would say, neurodegeneration, the death of nerve cells. So I hope something here is helpful to you and appreciate you listening. Take care.